Have an excellent mission and Godspeed.
Go for launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. FIDO, go. Prop,
Go.
GNC, go.
Hello, Houston. Hello.
Max,
Go.
Eagle, go. Ecom,
Go.
Hello, Houston? Hello?
DPS, go. Inco, go.
10,
Surgeon, go. Booster, go.
9,
Station flight,
9,
shuttle flight on my
9,
This is go.
9.
We have a go from you guys.
Houston, this is Mission Control.
Our industry is changing.
Internet of Things.
Houston, this is Mission Control. There will be 50 billion devices connected to the internet in just a few years. Is our industry ready for this always-on, continuously connected world?
8, 7.
Integrating distributed energy resources.
Houston, this is Mission Control. We are seeing distributed energy resources like solar and wind become more and more affordable and being adopted by more consumers. How are we going to adapt to an increasingly decentralized power system?
6, 5.
Water efficiency.
Houston, this is Mission Control. Aging infrastructure contributes to massive amounts of water lost in this distribution system. By some estimates, more than a third of water that's pumped and treated is wasted. How can we plug these leaks?
4.
Gas safety.
Houston, this is Mission Control. We've noticed an extreme spike in gas usage from your location and are worried there may be a leak. Can you advise on how to monitor and resolve this potentially disastrous situation?
3, 2. Greater customer expectations.
Houston, this is Mission Control. We are seeing an increase in consumers who want to get more from us than just a monthly bill. They want to better manage their energy and water use, conserve more and use technology like solar at home. How should we respond?
1.
Evolving utility business models.
Houston, this is Mission Control. 90% of utility professionals say they're exploring new business opportunities. As distributed generation continues to increase, more devices are connected and new technologies become more affordable. How are we going to transform our industry?
So we'll have 3 minutes. Flight booster, 3 engines ready. Copy, 3 ready. Copy, Vince.
PLS is go for main engine start.
Liftoff confirmed. Copy, liftoff. Roger, roll discovery. And good roll flight. Copy, good roll.
Thank you for seeking new frontiers.
Thank you for making a difference.
Technology has opened our industry's doors to entirely new frontiers, to creative, unique ways of solving challenges both old and new, to creating a greater efficiency and effectiveness in all that we do, to gaining deeper insights from data and analysis than ever before, to unlocking new services to maximize the potential of our systems, our resources, and our people.
Itron Utility Week is the utility industry's premier customer-focused event. Over the next few days, you will gain valuable insights from industry leaders, you will be inspired by and take time to collaborate with peers, and you will discover the opportunities available today and on the horizon to help us make the most of our energy and water resources.
Houston, this is Mission Control. Welcome to Itron Utility Week 2017.
Prepare for new frontiers.
There's a lot going on right now.
Please welcome to the stage my mom, Senior Vice President of Network Solutions, Sherilyn Moore.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took a midnight train going anywhere.
Welcome. Welcome to warm and sunny and friendly Houston, and welcome to Itron Utility Week. From all of us at Itron, we welcome you. We look forward to this. This is our very favorite time of the year. Well, every year we look to do something a little bit new. And this year we worked over a year ago to think about where to bring our conference and to look at a host utility to be able to welcome us into their community. We partnered with CenterPoint Energy, and little did we know that we'd be coming to Houston on the tail of the U.S.'s largest flooding disaster. Coming in after Hurricane Harvey gave us a great opportunity to look at how we, as a conference, can come in and make a difference. So for all of you that helped out yesterday, we made over 2,500 comfort care packages. There's still over 1,000 families displaced in the local area, so we're hoping we gave them a little bit of warmth and love in our care. Itron employees also have donated, and in addition to Itron's contributions, we've given more than $20,000 to disaster relief efforts locally. So we're great to be here. Thank you, CenterPoint Energy, for having us. It worked out just perfectly, and I think it was meant to be. So with that, I want to ask, how many people in the room, this is your first time to be at Itron Utility Week? Whether you're an employee, a utility, or a partner, raise your hand. This is your first time. Okay, it's great. Well, welcome. You are officially what we call a first-timer, so we truly warmly welcome you. How many of you have been here before, at least 3, 4, 5 times? Raise your hand. Okay, look at this room. This is exactly what we're trying to accomplish. We do our best to create a really good event. We want to create knowledge sharing, networking, and we certainly want to have a lot of fun. But really what it's about is creating an experience and building a sense of community and creating that experience that you want to return to and repeat visiting every year. So welcome both our first-timers, welcome to our community, and welcome back everyone else. We're excited. I think we have a really incredible program this year. So with that, I want to talk a little bit about what our theme is. So our theme is all about creating new frontiers. Not only is it a great theme when we think about being in Houston and being around the space theme, but it's also really appropriate as we think about where we are as an industry. We've often talked about the dynamics and the change, utility transformation. Well, we're in it. We're in the middle of it. It can feel a little bit like chaos. I know those of us at Itron, it's a lot of fun right now. And we talk to a lot of utilities, and we know you're undergoing and doing a lot of things right now, and we're right in the heart of it. So we are together charting new frontiers, and we hope that this conference helps and assists and provides us some additional tools on our journey. So with that, and without further ado, I'd like to bring up our keynote speaker today, the CEO of CenterPoint Energy, and my friend Scott Prohaska.
Never had a musical entry. Feel like a movie star, although I'm far from one. Sherilyn, thank you so much for inviting me here to be with you all. Thank you for bringing your meeting here, Philip. We've had a great partnership over the years. It's really super that you guys came down here, and especially on the heels of Hurricane Harvey, as you said. I think the theme of New Frontiers is perfect. I think it's perfect for your meeting. I think it's perfect for the industry. I think it's perfect for us. And what I want to do today is I want to do 3 things. I want to, first of all, tell you a little bit about this great city of Houston, since I'm assuming a number of you have either not been here before or not spent much time here. And then I want to talk a little bit about our own journey, where we've been and where we're headed next. We'll hit all those. I do want to point out, though, that I'm glad you all are here today, because this is what the weather's like every day of the year. Perfect weather. You've never seen anything better than this. You're actually here on one of the premier days. It's interestingly, Houstonians will find any excuse possible to pull clothes out of their closet. I actually saw people with caps and gloves on this morning. So those of you that aren't from here might laugh at the absurdity of that, but it's great to have you all here. We're really thrilled that you're here. Tell you a little bit about Houston. I call this Houston by the numbers. Houston was founded in 1836 by the Allen brothers. It was originally named Harrisburg and was later renamed in honor of Sam Houston. In 1867, actually, was the first recorded baseball game played in Houston, and it was the Houston Stonewalls beat the Galveston Robert E. Lee's 35-2. Not a great game. We're currently enjoying a much better series with the Astros. I've got to put a plug in for them. In 1901, Spindletop occurred, the discovery of oil, and really put the area on the map in terms of energy. In 1932 was the first fat stock show and rodeo, which is in Houston. And now, today, we host the largest rodeo in the world. If you haven't been down, please come back in February and enjoy it. It's a wonderful time. Great experience, great cultural event. Love to have you back. In 1962, NASA's Manned Spacecraft Center established here for space exploration. In fact, I'm sure all of you know this. We take a little pride in it. The first word spoken from the moon was Houston. Today, Houston is the fourth most populous city in the U.S. We're approaching 7 million people across the greater Houston area. It's approximately 655 square miles, and at that size, it's larger than 6 European countries. If we were a country, we would have the 23rd largest economy in the world, and if Houston itself were a state, our GDP would rank 9th in the U.S. We're known for a number of areas. I've mentioned aerospace. We have 2 international airports. We have over 250 companies that are in the aircraft or the space vehicle manufacturing, research, and technology sector. In fact, the FAA granted Ellington Airport status as a spaceport, which opens the door towards competitive space travel in the future. Healthcare is another sector we're very strong in. Our Texas Medical Institution is a collection of 54 institutes which treat 10 million patients annually from all over the globe. We have not 1, but 4 seaports in the region. The Port of Houston is the largest by tonnage, first in U.S. foreign tonnage, and this 52-mile channel is lined with approximately 150 companies with 330 public and private terminals that service the largest petrochemical complex in the U.S. Finally, from an education standpoint, nearly 437,000 students are in about 50 institutes learning, getting degrees. 32% of Houstonians have college degrees, and of those, almost half of them are STEM, so high in technology. From an arts and culture standpoint, we have resident companies in theater, ballet, opera, and symphony. We have a museum district that's got 19 museums tightly clustered together. We have 8 professional sports teams, ranging from the names that are familiar down to professional roller derby. We are the most diverse large city in the U.S. There is no racial majority or ethnic majority in the city. Nearly a quarter of the Houstonians were born outside of the U.S. Collectively, we speak over 145 different languages, and we enjoy over 11,000 restaurants from 75 different nations. Our living costs are affordable. We're roughly 20% below the national average for major metro areas, and our median age is 34. I truly believe that diversity is one of our major assets, and one of the things that allows us to be competitive and always pushing forward. Houston has had a strong relationship with the energy industry. I think many of you are aware of that. In fact, it's regarded as the energy capital. We are leading in terms of most of the segments of the industry or the energy value chain, from exploration to production to transmission to marketing, service, trading, supply, offshore drilling, and technology. We have over 4,800 energy-related firms in the greater metro area. We boast 10 refineries that process about 40% of the oil that comes out of the ground in Texas, and that equates to about 12% of the U.S. capacity. Our own roots at CenterPoint go way back in terms of our history. It goes back to 1866, the Houston Gas Light Company. Back then, we used coal and oyster shells to make natural gas to power streetlights. It wasn't until some 60 years later that pipeline would be laid and gas would flow to consumers in the city. Today, our natural gas business is about 3.5 million customers across 6 states between the Gulf Coast and the upper Midwest. And we spend approximately $500 to $600 million each year making sure we meet the needs of our customers from a growth, reliability, and safety standpoint. We have an unregulated natural gas sales business, which sells approximately 1 TCF of gas per year across 33 states, making us in the top 10 in terms of gas marketing and sales. We also own the majority interest in a midstream company. Our electric business goes back to 1882. Interestingly, Houston and New York were the first 2 cities to build electric power plants. And after we've spent more than a century as an integrated electric utility, about 15 years ago, the state went through electric deregulation. So the generation and the retail portions of our business are now both fully competitive, and the regulated portion is the wires business, everything from the plant to the meter, including the meter. I want to make sure that everyone is aware of what our market's like because it's relevant to some of my comments a little bit later. Today, we spend between $800 and a little over $900 million a year on this business, addressing the needs for growth, reliability, resiliency, and maintenance. Interestingly, our capital spend is about twice what it was 2 years ago, really reflecting the ongoing growth and requirements of energy delivery. Like most companies, we are driven and directed by our vision and our strategy and our values. They provide the direction, if you will, that guides our investment and guides our decision making. I want to, rather than read all of these and go through them, I want to point out the things that are most relevant. One is leadership, service, and value. They're all mentioned in the vision. And this is really important because this is how we see ourselves establishing the future. Being focused on being a leader, being focused on providing service to our customers, and most importantly, always striving to increase the value that we can create for our customers. Our smart energy journey began in the mid-2000s, and I want to touch on 5 key areas that we've addressed as we began this journey. The first one was smart meter deployment in our electric business. Began in 2009. We've deployed 2.5 million smart meters since then. Interestingly, we've only had about 120 people opt out of getting those. These electronic meters read in excess of 230 million data points each and every day. Compare that to the meter readings we would take years ago, 1 a month. Remote meters allow us to turn service on and off without a trip to the home. We've done this 17.3 million times since we've started, and each one of them has been in less than 30 minutes since the request was made. This is easier, faster, and cheaper. We no longer charge customers for service trips, saving our customers here locally $25 million each year. We've also been able to extend our hours of operation. We now will do meter orders 6 days a week, 16 hours a day. And for reconnects, we'll do them 24/7. This has created tremendous environmental benefits. We've saved over 1.7 million gallons of gasoline, which is the equivalent of about 5,700 commuters staying home for a year. We've also eliminated 15.6 tons of CO2 from being emitted as a result of this. The second area is in grid modernization. We have automated 31 substations. We've installed an advanced distribution management system, 872 intelligent grid switching devices on over 200 circuits. This covers only about 15% of our service territory and affects about 500,000 of our 2.5 million customers. We will be continuing to deploy that over the coming years. Intelligent Grid allows us to remotely locate and isolate faults and reroute power where necessary to allow as few people as possible to be affected. Since turning this on in 2011, we've saved customers in excess of 245 million outage minutes. That's a huge number, but to put it in context, think about it this way. We've managed to improve our reliability by almost 25% based on those circuits that have this investment on them. In fact, during the recent storm in Harvey, we avoided 45 million outage minutes as a result of having this technology on our system. The ADMS, or the Advanced Distribution Management System, is a series of very complex systems that have to interrelate with each other. They collectively perform tasks around monitoring, control. They provide near real-time information to create situational awareness. They're effective at communicating in a timely fashion, and it stores reams and reams of data that are used currently for operations as well as later for projects and analysis. The third area that we've addressed is natural gas modernization. In addition to the smart meters we put on our electric business, we've installed 3.4 million advanced gas meters across all of our service territory. We now can read each of these meters via a truck, a drive-by system that allows us to read 10,000 meters per day. And we continue to look for opportunities for fixed communication systems in the future. This, as well as the electric business, has allowed us to decrease our carbon footprint. We're a leader in new drive-by gas detection technology. We're using a system now that is 1,000 times more sensitive than prior technology. With this technology, we've inspected thousands of miles of pipeline, and we use it to manage our leak management systems in multiple service territories. We were able to use this technology, for example, during the storm to very quickly make passes through areas that were impacted to find out where we had leaking gas so that we could address it. We continue to accelerate the replacement of aging gas pipelines to increase the efficiency of our system and the safety of the communities that we serve. The fourth area I want to touch on is data analytics. This area is becoming so much more powerful. It allows us to create situational awareness in our electric business, which gives real-time graphical displays of outages and truck locations, and really enables us to get the right crew to the right place at the right time. Our whole belief is that the system needs to be one that we know more about than our customers, and we've made the investment to create that reality. Outage cases are now created, localized, and dispatched without anyone making a phone call. This has allowed us to create a 50 to 70% improvement in the time it takes to localize outages. We can also use these systems for revenue protection. Theft has been an issue in the past. We're now able to recover and identify where we see theft. For us, it's in the tens of millions of dollars range. For some areas, particularly if you think globally in some other nations, this could be hundreds of millions of dollars of benefit provided. We now can manage revenue forecasting in a more intelligent fashion. We used to estimate 90% of our revenue each month because of the way we took meter reads. We now estimate 0.1%. From a natural gas standpoint, we have created the same situational awareness capabilities. We have geospatial mapping across all of our 6 states. This helps us manage emergency response. It helps field crews understand where they need to be, and our field management can now they can see a work order and manage it on one screen from the creation of the work order all the way through completion. This is critical towards being able to manage our systems with the knowledge that we need and not rely on our customers to tell us what's happening with our systems. And finally, the last area is customer engagement. We have the need to continue to invest in creating wonderful experiences for our customers. We need to move our customers from satisfaction to loyalty. We have a new customer care system in place that gives our agents a 360-degree view of our customers. They can see all of our businesses at any time and all the issues that are occurring. It has allowed us to decrease our average handle times in excess of 8%. We have incorporated a predictive analytics engine which analyzes 14 million data points on each and every call to identify what the issue is for the customer, identify the customer themselves, and then handle the issue more prescriptively. In many cases, this can be done with the automated system without the help of a live agent. We've really invested to make sure we can communicate with our customers on the channel of their choice, whether it be a contact center, through an IVR, a phone system, web, digital, social media. It really matters what the customer wants to do. This is a customer-driven environment. We have seen a 30% increase, or I'm sorry, a 60% increase in our IVR containment rate through the use of predictive analytics. Tremendous improvements in terms of meeting customer needs. In our natural gas business, our natural language IVR has lowered the amount of effort it takes for a customer to interface with us, and it's raised satisfaction. We can now send service notifications to give customers the option to get bill reminders through email, text, or phone call. From an electric customer standpoint, they also have benefited from our investment in the customer space. Our power alert system allows us to notify customers when there is an outage. They get notified within minutes of an outage. We will tell them how long it takes to repair the outage, and then we will confirm with them when the outage is completed. This has raised customer satisfaction tremendously. We have had 94% call deflection as a result of installing this capability. We utilize our meters to drive energy efficiency campaigns. We ran a campaign called the Biggest Energy Saver. In that campaign, people were able to save 35 to 50% of their energy usage simply by focusing on the energy consumption and the data that we've made available to them. Thousands of Texans get detailed information in their homes regarding their energy usage so they can better manage it. These meters also allow our market, which is deregulated, to offer very creative service plans. Today, we have over 700,000 Texans that are using a free nights and weekends plan for power purchase. We have other programs such as prepaid power. People can select the amount of renewable content they want. These meters have really allowed customers to customize what they want to purchase and how they purchase it. As I think about the future, we are focused on 4 areas that I think matter. And certainly anyone can argue that there are others, but I just want to share 4 with you today. The ongoing impact of customers, the general impact of technology development, the complicated but essential element of integrated networks, and the ongoing use of data analytics. These are areas that are really driving us as we think about the future. From a customer standpoint, we need to focus on their needs. We need to be able to take value to them. It's becoming an environment where micro-segmentation is the winner. They want us to provide service that values them, their time, their money, and their preferences. They want to interact with us on their terms, not our terms. We've seen demand for alternative fuels and energy-efficient vehicles grow. We know that we're seeing more and more transportation that is looking at alternative fuel supply. Electric and natural gas vehicles are clean, they're economic, and perhaps most importantly, they are a growing segment of our transportation segment. Demand for renewables continues to grow, albeit it's coming on slow in Houston at a distributed level. But it is nonetheless a very strong space across the nation. Here locally, we've moved from commercial installations of solar that numbered about 3 back in '07 to where we sit today in 2016 of 127. Percentage-wise, that's a little outstated in terms of the impact given the relative size, but the trend is there nonetheless. The growth that we see in other areas like California, Hawaii, Arizona is an indication of what the rest of the nation could expect to deal with at some point in the future. From a wind standpoint, Texas is the largest supplier of wind in the U.S. It's produced largely out in the west and on the coast, but it is produced in mass. We have 20 gig or 20,000 megawatts of wind capacity in the state of Texas. C&I customers have a growing interest in thinking about backup generation. Power quality matters. They have more sensitive equipment to deal with each and every year, and they want to understand what options they have to deal with power quality. The second area that I mentioned was just technologies in general. And rather than touch on the mass of technologies that could influence us, I want to just highlight the fact that this is a complicated space because you have technologies such as various forms of renewables, distributed energy, storage capabilities, but you also have the complication of the local environment, things like policy and subsidy, the price of grid power, the reliability of grid power. All of those interplay with the technologies to determine what makes sense for what region and at what time. And then you have technology considerations that are geared either around the customer, what technologies are going at the end use, and what technologies are available to utilities to operate the systems more efficiently and more safely. All of these I put together in this category of capital T, and it's technology. For one example I'll give you is drone technology. Drones have taken off. That's a bad pun to use. But in theory, or in practice, we are seeing a tremendous capacity for what drones can do for our industry. During Hurricane Harvey, we had over 15 drones flying hundreds of missions around our service territory. We were able to assess damage and efficiently direct crews to accessible locations rather than trying to drive around looking for the place to get in. It helps us accelerate the restoration assessments that are needed. We've been able to use video from drones to put on our web to be able to explain to customers what's going on by subdivision or by area. It's becoming much more geared around individual needs, and today's technologies allow us to do it. Drone is just a great example of that. We have teams in place now that continue to think about what additional applications do we have for drones. They're working through that. Our industry must embrace technology, and we must meet customer needs. Emerging technologies are at the forefront of change. They create disruption. A lot of us in this room are uncomfortable with disruption, but it is the new reality. Technology stemming from disruption is one thing that is going to really shake things up and cause us to think differently. In this age of disruption, if you think about it, the largest cab company has no cabs and the largest hotel has no hotels. We have to think differently. We have to be willing to embrace technology. Some fear that with the advent of technology that utilities will be in a death spiral. I actually completely disagree with that assertion. Which leads me to my third point, and that is around integrated networks. I believe that energy delivery networks are here to stay as they are the enablers for our future. Growth of technology makes power more, not less necessary. Consumers demand more energy choice. The grid will be more relevant in the future than it is today. Nonetheless, utilities of the past are changing dramatically. We have expanded beyond our definition of utilities beyond plants and wires and poles and meters. We have to think more broadly. We have to think about the interplay of technology. We have to think about the use of data. We have to think about communication systems, and we have to think about telecom. Telecom has become a frontline capability for utilities. We rely on them for situational awareness. We rely on them for reliability. We rely on them for understanding outage information at our customers' locations. The fourth area is data analytics. And our focus over the next 5 years needs to increase with respect to our capabilities around data analytics. We need to look at asset intelligence. We need real-time info to manage our infrastructure. We need to think about automating our operations. We need to think about security and resilience and the use of data to drive that further. We need to think about additional customer empowerment, getting real-time information to them, much as we do today, but in a more detailed fashion so they can manage their energy needs and any inconvenience a blip in the grid may cause them. We need more predictive analytics. We need to be able to see when our assets are failing and know that in advance so that we can take care of it before there's a problem. We can use predictive information to allow us to site crews during a weather event by knowing specifically more information about where weather is going to affect us. We're going to have to continue to be comfortable moving technology and intelligence to the edge of the grid. The devices at the edge have intelligence in them. They can make decisions. This will lead to increased reaction times. Utilities must now think about transitioning from a traditional to the new energy service environment. Terms like smart cities are being used more frequently. The capabilities that smart cities offer are wide, and they're not just utility-oriented. They represent a partnership between the utilities and the cities and the communities. DER improves reliability, efficiency, and sustainability. Analytics and intelligent services allow us to address quality of life issues, public Wi-Fi, smart public meters, air quality data, for example. Smart streetlights can save energy. They can make neighborhoods safer. Smart buildings save energy. Smart transportation improves mobility, safety, and reduces the carbon footprint. Smart water allows us to better understand where we have losses in our water systems, and as we've experienced most recently, more information about water management will allow us to better deal with flooding situations. Electric and gas transportation continues to be an area of continued growth and development. From 2010 to 2016, electric vehicles in the Houston area went from 2 to now we have in excess of 3,800. Nationwide, EV sales grew 37% from 15 to 16. We now have in excess of 150,000 around the nation. We now have more than 20 models of plug-in and electric vehicles that are available, and over 14,000 charging stations around the U.S. to support this. We also support electrification of off-road vehicles. Cargo handling, cranes, tugs, transport at our ports and airports are key areas we can invest to improve our carbon footprint as well as productivity. NGVs, natural gas vehicles, continue to grow for fleets and long haul as well as passenger vehicles. There's over 150,000 on U.S. roads today, and there's 17 million natural gas vehicles worldwide. This allows us to, natural gas vehicles allow a 70 to 90% reduction in carbon monoxide and a 20 to 30% reduction in CO2. They are 50% cheaper as vehicle fuel than a gasoline vehicle. Centerpoint, we are expanding our fleet of vehicles, gas vehicles and electric vehicles as well. Continued use of natural gas as a direct fuel makes sense. It's far more efficient. Natural gas maintains 92% of its usable energy when used directly. It's far better than any other source. Only about 27% of energy converted to electricity actually reaches consumers. We see it as a replacement for coal generation around the U.S. Natural gas emits 52 to 50% or 56% less greenhouse gas than coal. So direct use of gas continues to make sense. It's also a great way to drive an increased use of renewables across our footprint. It allows renewables the necessary backup so that the intermittency associated with wind or solar can be effectively balanced. It is an enabling tool towards a lower carbon future. Let me finish by returning to a comment that I think is most important, and that is a continued focus on the customer. I've mentioned several drivers today that we think about as we think about our future and what matters, but what matters most to us is the evolving need of the customer. We should be excited about this opportunity to participate. We're moving to a business environment where we deal with customers on their terms as opposed to our terms. This requires acceptance of higher degrees of customization. We need to value customers' preferences, growing demand for different channels, for care, for customer care, automation, and self-service. We need to value their time. It needs to work. It needs to work right the first time they interface with us. We need to value their money. We need to make sure that they get value for their money, not necessarily the lowest price, but we need to understand what do they value and how do we deliver that to them. And overall, we need to value the customer. We need to show that we care. We need to show that we understand what they are trying to do and what their needs are, and that we bring solutions to them. We should not be waiting around for them to tell us specifically what they need. We should understand our customers well enough to provide those solutions. Later this year, we'll be launching the next version of our Customer Preference Center, which will allow more capabilities for our residential, small business, as well as our C&I customers. And we're looking at things like robotics, which would be, for example, the possible use of bots for customer service in chat rooms, for example. And I'm sure many of you out there are either doing the same or are considering it. As leaders in an age of disruption, we must embrace what futurist Jack Aldrich calls aha moments. And aha moments refer to the ability to anticipate the future with humility and act. So anticipate, humility, and act. Very key, I think, as we think about what it takes to be successful going forward. We need to listen to and understand our customers. We need to expand relationships with our stakeholders. We need to embrace technologies and make technologies work for us, not against us or to us. We need to be out in front and embrace technologies. We need to explore new products, new services, and new business models. And for utilities, that means getting out of our comfort zone. Not everything we do as corporate entities may be geared around regulated services. We need to think about what do we need to provide to our customers. With this approach, we will not merely manage the changing energy environment, but we need to lead the transformation. That is our duty as leaders in this industry. Thank you all for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful conference.
Please welcome to the stage Itron's President and CEO, Philip Measy.
Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright.
Thank you. Welcome and good morning. I want to add my welcome to Sherilyn's and to Scott's. It's so great to be here in Houston after Hurricane Harvey. It reminds all of us the criticality of providing safe, reliable, and affordable electricity, gas, and water, how important to society the work that you do is, particularly after Irma, Maria, all of these disasters really emphasize the criticality of the work that you do. I want to continue on with the theme of welcoming to Houston. In 1962, President Kennedy came here to Rice University and gave one of his most important speeches. He challenged the nation to embrace the idea of landing on the moon by the end of the 1960s. He had first made this call in 1961, but the speech that's remembered was made here in Houston in 1962. 7 years later, that amazing challenge was realized. We're going to talk about a number of challenges in our industry today, the opportunities that we have to embrace the new business model and the new opportunities that Scott talked so deeply about. And I just want to put those in scale to things that we've done before. We have such tremendous opportunity and can make great progress with the technology and ideas that you're going to be exposed to over the next couple of days. So welcome, and let's really get the most out of this conference that we can. So let's start, though, with the idea of asking this basic question: why do we need to modernize? You've all done an amazing job: safe, reliable, and affordable energy and water. Now we're being asked to provide that in as clean and environmentally sensitive a way that's possible. And yet there are amazing challenges that are out there for you to be able to continue to provide this service and meet the new challenges that Scott talked about. And we have to change our company in order to meet those new challenges. So I'm going to challenge all of you to be thinking about the future of your businesses, but I want to start out by talking to you about what we've been doing at Itron over the past couple of years. The first is building our business on a solid operational footing. Over the past 2 years, we've improved the efficiency of our business, improved our profitability, and improved our basic ability to meet your needs and to continue to drive innovation. That solid foundation of our business allows us to invest $165 million a year in research and development and to be thinking where the industry is going to be 5 years from now and 10 years from now. Over the past 6 months, we have both acquired a company called Converge, the largest residential demand response provider in North America. We're incredibly excited about the opportunity that we have to engage now beyond the meter to implement the kinds of customer service programs for all of you that allow you to engage with your customers to help balance the supply and demand of energy. That balancing supply and demand is going to become increasingly challenging in the coming years, and we need to invest with you in technology that allows for that more active grid and our ability to create balance behind the meter and in front of the meter. And then most recently, we've announced our intent to acquire Silver Spring Networks, a large complementary provider to us of mesh networks. Silver Springs came into the market as a Silicon Valley startup, disrupting the market and using a much more forward technology approach. They pushed the industry forward. They've pushed us to embrace open standards and more advanced technology. We've loved the competition, and we've loved what that's done for our business, but we see a future in which we can build the strongest open standards network that applies not only to the current electricity, gas, and water businesses, but really opens the door to the potential of the Internet of Things by providing an integrated radio frequency, power line carrier, cellular communications network that allows us to adapt to all kinds of different conditions, bring that data together, store and analyze it in order to drive the kinds of improved outcomes that Scott's just told us about. So in order to do that, we need to provide the unified platform that you're going to hear about in OpenWay Riva: electricity, gas, and water running on the same network, and opening up that network for innovation with partners and continued investment on Itron's part to bring more and more devices onto that network in order to realize that vision. At the same time, we have to drive down the cost of implementing this technology and supporting it over time. And in order to do that, we have to embrace the cloud. We have a new computing model that allows for economies of scale and remote management of both very small systems up to extremely large systems to manage those remotely, to capture all of this vast data that's being generated by the sensors that are being put out into the field, to analyze that, and to help drive business outcomes. Partnering with all of you to find the value of all of this data in order to drive superior results. So why do we need to do that? And what are the challenges? What this graph shows you is that while you're being asked to really evolve your business model, you're facing a hard reality on the electric side, in which electricity demand since 2010 is actually down by 7%. And if you look at forward projections, it's projected to stay at these sorts of levels, because energy efficiency programs and the kinds of reductions that we've heard about make it possible to actually reduce overall energy use. Now we'll see whether or not electricity demand in the transportation fleet, as an example, really changes that trend, and I think there are great opportunities there. But with this decline in demand, you still have the same need for capital investment in infrastructure. So as we take a look at capital spending in the utility space, that infrastructure still requires these very high levels of capital investment. Scott talked about what CenterPoint is doing with significant ongoing capital investment in a time in which electricity demand is not growing. So we have to deploy our capital more effectively. We have to manage our assets in a different way. We have to continue to reduce operations and maintenance costs. And looking at the gas side, on the left-hand side here, you see a chart that says over 50% of our gas pipeline infrastructure was put in prior to 1970, some of it very old. There's a tremendous investment being put into modernizing our gas pipeline infrastructure, but it's a vast undertaking. How do we drive the efficiency to pick the right places and the right times in order to target that capital? In the center, water. Over 2 trillion gallons of water is lost every year. And that water loss, of course, is highly integrated with the electricity that it takes to pump, purify, and transport that water. Up to 10 to 20% of electricity generated is involved in the water cycle. So by creating a more efficient water system, we are really driving benefits across the energy value chain. And lastly, one of the most challenging problems that I know all of you are thinking about, which is the projected statistic that says 50% of your workforce will likely retire in the next 5 to 10 years. The expertise that is going to walk out the door needs to be captured in some way. The kinds of systems and algorithms, if we go to bots, we have to capture a set of business rules and a way of doing business that does not rely upon human intuition and experience in order to drive improvement in our business. And technology can help tremendously with that. So as we look at the challenge of improving our business efficiency, let's just start with the fact that we have to collect all of our electricity, gas, and water readings, get them accurate and timely, drive customer service, and improve reliability. It's the foundation of our business, and I fully expect that we'll spend time talking about making sure that we are doing the best job of that. Layered on top of that is a challenge for us to look at how to allocate capital, how to analyze the data in order to target asset management, O&M, and this embedded intelligence. At the same time, we are integrating renewable resources onto the grid. Now, this varies in different parts of the country. As we've heard about, the adoption rates are variable, but this is a challenge that's coming. And I would say to the people here on the gas side, this large shift from coal to gas-fired generation is having an impact on the residential gas and commercial gas market. So this change in balance of energy mix is something where we need to build a more active grid in order to deal with these challenges. And then finally, Scott talked about the tremendous importance of engaging with our customers. How is it in a time in which you can order a car, order a meal, get anything you want instantaneously on this device, that it's still difficult to see in some places how I'm using electricity, gas, and water, what programs the utility might be offering that would benefit me, when my service is going to be restored, and lots of other related information that will create that loyalty program and engagement with those customers. So we have a broad range of possibilities here. What is it that Itron can do in order to partner with you to really enable and drive innovation forward? We feel that by providing you with this active grid platform, with OpenWay Riva, which you're now all investing in, that we can both enable the business processes that are critical for your business today and give you the optionality and the tools for improvement that you need for tomorrow. Let's start out by providing an integrated electricity, gas, and water collection system, opening up new opportunities for you to partner with your local utilities and cities in order to share infrastructure, drive down cost, and improve customer service. Then let's take a look at the opportunities to bring other devices like street lighting, parking, air quality, security, all kinds of other topics onto that shared network to not only drive down the cost of implementing those solutions, but to create an opportunity to take an integrated look at all of this information in order to drive better outcomes. Because we think that we are moving to a world that will be much more data-driven, less driven by the intuition and experience of that retiring workforce, and more driven by powerful data analytics. I was recently at an EEI conference, and a speaker stood up and talked about a company called DeepMind, which was powered by Google. You may have heard of these guys. They built something called AlphaGo. AlphaGo is the computer that beat the Go Master, the world's most complicated board game. Everybody said, oh, computers will never be able to figure out how to play this game. It's too complicated. And of course, Google went out, bought a company that has an artificial intelligence engine that actually beat the most experienced player. The most interesting part of the presentation was, though, Google took their own artificial intelligence engine and said, I wonder what this could do in our data centers. Now remember, Google is the largest data center operator. Well, Amazon Web Services may be up there now, but Google was the largest data center operator. And I bet you can imagine that the crew at Google that operates data centers are pretty good at what they do. So the data center operations group took the challenge. It's a high-tech company, right? They only hire the very smartest people. And when confronted with the challenge of using this DeepMind computer on the data centers, they said, maybe you'll get 1% to 2% improvement in overall energy efficiency by applying this DeepMind algorithm. 15% improvement. And the point here is that today we feel that we've optimized our systems with the best available data and tools that we have and the best training that we have. It turns out the possibilities for a step change in performance are out there. And they're really available to us. But in order to take advantage of that, in this example, a data center is a highly instrumented, digitally connected, and controlled environment. Our distribution grids for electricity, gas, and water are not those. But the infrastructure that we can put in place with an active grid solution enables us to then apply algorithms on top to drive dramatically better solutions. And so let's take stock of where we are, though, and Scott talked about this as well. Let's go on a journey together from a reactive to a predictive environment, and actually eventually a prescriptive environment, in which we are not running assets to failure. We're anticipating failure by studying data, able to predict outcomes and anticipate those outcomes in order to drive more time-efficient, better customer service, and actually lower overall costs as we incrementally start getting more value out of the data that we are collecting out of our systems. And then to move to the next level of prescriptive. How do we avoid this kind of problem? And this is where this idea of distributed intelligence and enabling each one of the OpenWay Riva endpoints that you're going to see in the Knowledge Center with enough capability to actually analyze data locally and in some cases to talk to other nodes on the network and actually make decisions and take action in order to reduce reaction time and allow data to be examined at a minute level that is not practical in a centralized system. By providing this capability in a distributed network, we are enabling you today to go on this journey. How quickly you go on this journey is actually up to you and is variable based on the conditions in your local environment. Our commitment, though, is to provide you with the core technology and platform that allows you to securely make an investment today with 10, 15, 20-year forward asset life that increasingly will be driven by software, where the capability to extend the functionality of the system that you put out in the field is enabled by being able to download additional applications and firmware into these devices in order to drive on this journey towards this more prescriptive world. And as if that weren't enough, the optimization opportunity that you have within each one of your organizations is even greater when we start interacting across electricity, gas, and water and integrate cities in order to build cleaner, more sustainable, and safe communities for all of us to live in. And the virtuous circle there is that vital, sustainable cities drive demand for the products that you're selling today. It's a natural partnership. And what's required here is collaboration and investigation in regulatory models and business models that enable our utilities to play a very active role in that smart city revolution. How do we build these more sustainable cities? How do we move from talking about this to doing something? We have a group here from Envision Charlotte who's actually reduced commercial industrial energy use in the center of Charlotte by 19% in a collaboration with Duke and a public-private partnership. We're very excited to be participating with Avista in a project in the Spokane area called Urbanova that's looking at a shared energy economy. How are energy resources shared between large energy users and the utility in order to drive benefits on both sides? And very actively engaged with a number of other cities that are represented here by water utilities and electric and gas utilities taking leadership in their communities in order to drive these better outcomes. This is really exciting stuff. We are standing right on the edge of the what's possible. I'm so excited to hear about what CenterPoint is doing and embracing this change and the kind of disruption that there is in the marketplace. All of you can do this, and there is so much more that we can do. With all of the waste and inefficiency that exists in how we distribute electricity, gas, and water, and how customers use electricity, gas, and water, there are tremendous opportunities to improve the efficiency of your businesses and, as Scott mentioned, to redefine your relationship with your customers in a strong loyalty-based system in which they see the benefits of what it is that you're delivering. So join us in creating a more resourceful world. Let's use the next couple of days to engage in meaningful discussion about where these opportunities are and how we can realistically stretch to use the information that you're collecting today to drive better business benefits, prepare us for this significant change that is enabled by this new technology. And oh, by the way, please take every opportunity you can when you're interacting with a person from Itron to tell us how we're doing and what we could do better and how we can drive better customer loyalty. Scott's absolutely right. The core of the success of our business is our relationship with our customers. And we are deeply honored to be able to spend 2 days with all of you and hear directly from you, and most importantly, to listen and learn from you. Thank you very much. Enjoy the conference.
I feel like I'm supposed to sing. You don't want me to. Okay, well, I'm going to punch through just a few updates. First of all, thank you, Philip, and thank you, Scott. Those are great opening remarks to set the stage for the rest of the week. Here at Itron, we've been busy over this last year. We remain pretty committed to raising the bar and doing more to better improve what we deliver to you and how we deliver that. So I want to hit just a few of the highlights of what we've been up to here at Itron, what you can expect since you visited with us last year. First of all, we're investing. We don't really stop. We're always looking at ways that we can get better. One of the things that we've recently just done, it's an organizational move that's near and dear to my heart as I'm the new leader of the organization, but at Itron we've created a new organization around our networks solutions, our data collection technology, to bring that together to provide a little bit more focus so that we can better adapt our technology, our OpenWay Riva, our data collection to ensure we're meeting the needs of all of our customers across electricity, gas, water, from some of the water municipalities serving small sets of customers through the most largest globally diverse utilities as well. So we want to make sure that we can adapt the technologies to all sizes and types of utilities. So that's one of the things that we've done at Itron since last year. Another thing we're doing, and Philip mentioned this, is we're investing heavily in R&D. Since Itron's inception in 1977, we've been focused on driving and delivering utility solutions in this distribution space. For the amount of money that we're spending, we're clearly not the largest company that works in this industry, but with the amount of money that we're spending, we're one of the largest innovators here. So we remained committed to continuing that investment, which is focused on you, our customers. And we're also really busy on building our ecosystem. We're partnered up with some of the largest technology companies, partners like Microsoft, where we're moving all of our software and analytics over to the secure Azure cloud. We're partnered with SAP, where we've announced that our meter data management, Itron Enterprise Edition, is going to be moving to the HANA platform. We're also partnered with companies like Verizon. Think about the comments that Scott made about the critical nature of telecom in the utility world. We're also focused with companies that are building adjacent solutions to our technologies, companies like B Square that are helping us put an app platform at the edge in Riva so that we can build out applications onto that platform. We are also driving an ecosystem around Riva, and Linda Campbell, who's somewhere in the room, is working hard to continue to bring more and more providers that are putting integrated Riva inside their devices to put applications on that OpenWay Riva network. So we're 80 partners and counting, and we're going to continue to grow that. 2 years ago, on this stage, we announced the next generation of OpenWay Riva. We've been maturing and driving that solution. We're starting to make a lot of progress, which I'll get to in a minute. But as a reminder, it is our connected network solution that's bringing many types of devices over a wireless network into Itron collection software, other application software, all so we can build new outcomes and drive more value on that platform. What's unique about OpenWay Riva is there's 4 distinct advantages that we summarize this way. It is very different. It was different from previous generations of OpenWay, so it built on OpenWay, but it's different than anything else available because we took some additional thoughts into what we needed or what we anticipated we'd need in the future. First of all, it's active. It brings memory and processing power down to every device so that you can run the native intelligence and the applications at the edge itself to make decisions in near real time. That helps make it active. It's connected. It's connecting not only electricity devices, but gas and water as well. It's RF mesh technology, but it also can do power line carrier for hard to read or meter vault conditions. It also can be cellular. We understand that you're pushing us for 100% connectivity. You need to invest in something that gets to all of your customers. So connected is very important. It's also open. We've looked at every layer of the network stack for you IT people in the room, and not only is it IPv6, but we've adopted standards throughout that entire network stack. We're committed to WISUN. We're a promoter member of the WISUN Alliance, along with companies like Cisco, our network embedded partner, another one of our key partners, as well as Silver Spring Networks. That's the path of interoperability that companies committed to WISUN are going to get to so that we can interoperate and get to true interoperability, which we know is key. That's what makes it open. We're also driving the ecosystem and the Riva.com developer network and an innovators program so that we're encouraging others to join and be able to build in and around OpenWay Riva. And last, it's unified. We know we need the lowest cost AMI system for water, gas, and electricity, but it also needs to do more. We need to address more of these strategic value propositions with customers, with grid efficiencies, with water efficiencies, with gas, safety, and system integrity. So we're committed to building that beyond AMI, but starts first and foremost with low cost, low risk, proven AMI. And we've made a lot of progress. Right now we have more than 20 million Openway Riva. I think we're closer to 25 million Openway network endpoints deployed in the field, already installed. We have more than 5.5 million commitments on the Openway Riva platform across electricity, gas, and water. Through our acquisition of Converge, which Philip mentioned, we have more than 3 million customers that Itron's managing in active demand response programs. And we're analyzing more than 2 million endpoints, whether we're doing transformer load monitoring, leak detection, improved outage management, or trying to identify theft. And what's also unique is we're involved in many smart city programs. Philip mentioned Envision Charlotte. In just that program alone, which started with Openway to help the downtown core of Charlotte improve energy efficiency and drive conservation, we've saved already 26 million in energy savings through that program. They're expanding to water and many other types of services as well. So smart cities really has the promise of starting to drive real city benefits. When we think about what's ahead, so that was a bit of the progress that we've made to date. When we look a little bit about what we're thinking about in the future, there's a few things that we're going to really continue to focus on. First of all, Openway Riva will be a multi-commodity AMI application. It's really one of the only platforms and systems that can truly be a dedicated gas network, a dedicated water network, and a dedicated electricity network, and it can be all of the above together. It's also standards-based. We recognize you will need optionality. You will want to choose who your meter provider is, and it may not be us. You may want to choose what kind of applications you run, what kind of sensors that you run, what kind of software you need to analyze things. All of these things require that the system is open, it's interoperable, and it works well with others. So we're going to continue to spend time there. And lastly, we're going to do everything we can to ensure additional value-added applications so that you have more choice and that there's more that you can do with your Openway Riva investment. So those are just a few of the principles that are driving our R&D that we'll probably be talking about when we get back together next year. Now, I just want to punch through a few highlights because it's not been just Itron making progress. A lot of our utility customers have made tremendous progress and have innovative programs kicking off. So I just want to hit a few of the highlights. There's many others that we could have talked about as well. But first of all, Avangrid. Avangrid in Ithaca, New York, is looking at a energy smart community initiative where they're really wanting to drive the notion of being a distribution system platform provider. In doing so, they want to be a system integrator or an energy services system integrator. So we look forward to helping Avangrid toward those initiatives, and they'll be doing that across their electricity and gas. When we look at Avista's based in Spokane, Washington, also where Itron is headquartered. They're near and dear to our hearts for that reason. And they're committed to rolling out grid modernization efforts across the state of Washington. What's also unique is they have a team of innovative engineers that are working on building their own Riva applications to run on their network. So we're interested and anxiously waiting to see what Avista and that team does with new Riva applications. And they've also helped invest in Urban Nova, was already mentioned. Avista and Itron got involved early and are donating our time and energy to help start Urban Nova, which has already taken on a life of its own. It will create a living laboratory in a university district within Spokane, leveraging this smart, connected Openway Riva technology to look at new sensor data, air quality, and open it up for data research from the likes of Washington State University and others to look at next generation smart city applications. So we look forward to working with Avista, and thank you for your efforts in leading the way there. And then we have National Grid. So National Grid is looking at grid modernization, starting in Massachusetts, New York, and also in Rhode Island. One of the interesting projects that they have in Clifton Park in New York, they're looking at demand reduction initiatives. And one of the things that they're looking at, in addition to New York Rev benefits in New York State, they're also looking at programs that can drive comfort, rewards, and control for their customers. So we look forward to seeing how National Grid does in those initiatives. And then PNM. PNM had the choice of many AMI providers. We've been a long customer of PNM, and we worked hard with them on their business case. For those reasons, they chose Openway Riva, and they'll be deploying more than 500,000 electricity meters next year through 2018. They're also not only looking at AMI, but they're looking at smart cities ahead. Their sister utility is Texas New Mexico Power, or TNMP, and we're working with them. They have a fully deployed Openway cellular system that we're helping them manage and run. So we look forward to working with PNM through 2018 on their program. And then you have Roswell. Roswell's a city that we may think a little bit of as far as UFOs and aliens in New Mexico, so yes. But tomorrow, I think what we might think of Roswell is what they're doing in smart water. The city of Roswell is going to deploy smart digital ultrasonic water meters across every one of their customers, and they're equipping them not only with Openway Riva, but with remote water shutoff valves. So the city of Roswell may be pioneering and may have one of the most innovative water networks moving forward. So we look forward to seeing the progress that they make in New Mexico, and hopefully nothing spooky happens with the aliens. And then last, Tonga. Tonga is an island in the Pacific. They primarily rely on diesel fuel for their energy generation. They turn to Itron and Openway Riva to help them look at not only integrating renewables, but lowering costs. So we initially focused on using remote disconnects as well as prepayment. We were able to help them eliminate their costs, and we also detected some voltage irregularities that they weren't expecting. The project's gone well. Now they're rolling out water, and we're already looking ahead to street lighting as well as solar integration. So we look forward to partnering with Tonga on their Smart Island project. And I think we've got a contingent from Tonga here, so welcome. With that, that was just a few of our customers, but it's a really good segue because one of the things we started last year was our 2017 Excellence and Resourcefulness Awards. And so we'd like to continue that, and now we're going to begin our awards presentation. So I'd like to invite Farah Saeed to join me on stage. She's from Frost & Sullivan, and they're the ones that make us legitimate in the awards category. Your walk-up music.
Wow, that's pretty dramatic. But thank you, Sherilyn, for that wonderful introduction, and as well as for the insight on the different projects that Itron is engaged in across the globe, but also here in North America. It's quite insightful to see the digital transformation that you're taking with these cities as well as utilities. Our project essentially wanted to focus more on the kind of implications technology implementation has had, both from a business perspective as well as from a societal perspective. So we conducted some primary research across the U.S. where we surveyed municipalities as well as utilities to get a better understanding as to what kind of an impact it has had in conserving energy and water. And we narrowed it down to 2 utilities that have demonstrated exceptional results within resourcefulness. But before I announce the winners, which I'm sure you're really dying to learn who they are, I wanted to share a little short experience that I've just had this past year. Being in Houston, I'm sure a lot of you have been in a planetarium. If not, I certainly encourage you to go and visit one. Me personally, I have to say I was terrified. I was terrified of going in a planetarium, specifically as a kid. There was something about the sound and that weird music that they were playing would just overwhelm me. But just this year, I was able to muster some courage some bravery through the encouragement of my 9-year-old, who's a girl, by the way, and is a huge Star Wars fan. And during these sessions that I attended, while I learned a lot about the red planet, the fact that Pluto is a dwarf planet, and in fact that we have a 9th planet in our solar system, which is 20 billion miles away, I left each time with a sense of gratitude and a newfound perspective of how minuscule our planet is, but yet very significant. And we really need to take a better care of our planet and be grateful of the resources that it provides us. So with that sentiment, I would like to announce the winners for excellence and resourcefulness within energy and water. And these utilities in some ways have been pioneers. They've already taken on the journey of the new frontier. One utility that we've identified has taken a very interesting approach. They have implemented an integrated demand response program. But more importantly, in order to encourage their customers to participate, they have implemented a shared compensation plan. And through that, what we were particularly impressed by was within the first year or so, they were able to reach a penetration rate which exceeded their initial goal of 30%, and they were able to reach 36%. And the same way with the water utility that we're going to be recognizing fairly shortly, they took the step to implement 66,000 AMI communication modules, and what that essentially allowed them to do is to switch from a biannual billing to an annual billing. So the customers are no longer looking at their $600 bill. They can actually prepare way in advance for their monthly consumption. And also something very other thing that I thought was really interesting is that they were actually reporting water in cubic feet, and they switched over to gallons, which of course is something that's much more relatable to consumers. And of course, they've deployed all the high-tech gear and so, but I thought those were kind of the key takeaways that I took from those two projects. I would encourage you to read the awards that we have prepared. It has a lot more details with regards to the 6 criteria we were looking under the business impact and societal impact, but I no longer want to keep the suspense going, and I'll go ahead and announce the winners.
All right. The Frost & Sullivan Excellence and Resourcefulness Awards for Energy goes to, always wanted to do this.
I'm pleased to announce that the winner is Central Hudson.
Congratulations. I think we turn this way. Thank you. And the winner of the Excellence in Resourcefulness Awards for Water goes to
Madison Water Utility.
Congratulations. Excellent, thank you. And thank you, Farah. Congratulations again to our winners. Okay, at this time, I'd like to bring up the chair of our Itron Utility Week Advisory Board. This conference is not just planned by Itron, it's actually planned by representatives of all of you from the utility community by our advisory board, and they're critical to that. Brad, would you please join me on stage? Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
All right, I thought maybe you'd want to tell the group a little bit about what the advisory board does.
Yes, our user advisory board is actually Itron utility customers that are volunteered to set the contents of the conference and guide the direction for our topics for our breakout sessions, all the way to the Monday night party events, to Tuesday night events. all the closing stuff, and everything in between.
Awesome. Well, would you like to introduce the rest of the board?
Absolutely. If I could have you guys stand when I call your name, and if you guys can hold your applause to the end, that'd be great. Obviously, myself. Thank you.
This is Brad Lowe.
Brad Anderson, Spire Energy. Derek LeBoff, City of Ottawa. Joe Thomas, Duke Energy. Nick Miller, Southwest Gas Corporation. David Mazzaro, First Energy. Greg Foss, Cleveland Water. Dave Dieger, BC Hydro. Bob Sakatkis, DT Energy. Sorry, Bob. Dennis Demir, Las Vegas Water District. Tal Centers, Centerpoint Energy. Peter Chow, Southern Company, Georgia Power.
Couldn't be
He's
here
not
today.
Yeah, he's not here today,
Okay.
unfortunately. Dean Martin, Smart Energy.
The Dean Martin.
Yes, the Dean Martin.
Yeah.
Then we have Gary Jackson, People's Gas.
He
He's
couldn't
not
be here
Yeah,
either.
he's not here either.
Mhm.
Shoshella James, Centerpoint Energy. Tracy Tinsley, Duke Energy. Melanie Popovich, People's Gas. George Hughes, Union Gas Limited. All right, if I get one round of applause for you guys, thank you so much for all your help.
We greatly appreciate our advisory board, and you really help make the conference what it is.
They do. It's amazing the amount of volunteer help that these guys provide for us and help build the conference and the content and forge the way of the direction for the whole direction that the conference goes. So.
Yeah, great. Well, we also want to take a moment to thank our sponsors. This conference is also enriched by the participation of key sponsors. They attend, they present, they're in our Knowledge Center. They work with us every day with you, our customers, but they also help provide sponsorship dollars, which helps give us provide us a situation where we can make an even nicer conference for you. So we greatly appreciate our sponsors. Our first sponsor, our platinum sponsor, is Verizon. They are here. We appreciate them being our very top sponsor this year. Our diamond sponsor is Cisco. Mentioned them before, our network embedded partner. We appreciate Cisco being here as well. Our gold sponsors are ABB, Sierra Wireless, and SAP. Thank you. We have additional sponsors of AT&T, Accenture, Black & Veatch, and Microsoft. We also, last but not least, have some key media partners. In fact, we right now are live streaming this session thanks to Green Tech Media. We have over a few hundred people registered, so those of you that are participating right now in the virtual stream, welcome to the conference. We're glad you could participate virtually, and thank you, Green Tech Media. Metering and Smart Energy is also here. They've got the N. Girardi studio going on in the Knowledge Center, so we've got a lot of great presentations. So make sure you get in and check that out. That's that studio area right to the right when you walk into the Knowledge Center. As well as Navigant, our key research partner, is also here and helping us out. So now let's get to a few of our logistics, shall we?
Yes, absolutely. So as you know, general session, we're in today right now. Lunch will actually be back here in the Texas Ballroom, D through H, at noon to 1:15. Big picture session is in the Texas Ballroom, Salon B. Of
course, we have a Women in Utilities special reception. We have Sam Edis, a best-selling, an award-winning author and an expert on women in the workplace and work-life balance. She's going to be here. She's fantastic. And for all of you men that are feeling left out, please don't, because you're actually welcome to join us. We'll be at the pool deck today before we go to the big party tonight across the way at the park.
And maybe some of us men can actually learn something from the women, right?
I think so.
And don't forget, tonight's big event, it's at the across the street at Discovery Park. It's Houston. We're having a party. Please remember to wear your name badges to be able to get in. There'll be people giving you directions across the street and over to the park. It's actually going to be in the third part of the park over there. It's going to be gated. So again, you have to have your badge. Looking forward to seeing all the cowboys and space aliens, right?
Yeah, always a good time. It never disappoints.
Absolutely.
Okay, a few session updates. I'm not going through these, so all of you by now should have your handy Itron event application, your app loaded. It has all of the up-to-date information, so please don't rely on me or these morning sessions to tell you what's been changed or edited or updated. So make sure you're using your app for that.
And then Tuesday's schedule, tomorrow morning at 6:45 for breakfast back here in the Texas Ballroom D through H. General session will be again here tomorrow in the same location. Don't miss out on that one. It's going to be amazing. Astronaut. Big picture session back up in the Texas Ballroom, Salon B. Lunch will be here again at 12. And then the closing Knowledge Center, everyone likes the big slideshow and stuff. That's actually going to be at 4:30 in the Texas Ballroom A through C.
And don't miss out. We have more prizes than we've ever had. We have drones. We have Surface tablets, the list goes on.
Yes.
A lot of good stuff. You get a lot of the drawings are going on and the activities are happening in the Knowledge Center. So make sure you spend time there. I think that's a really good segue, in fact. Not only to get your prizes or entered to win prizes, but we have so much good stuff in that Knowledge Center, and we've brought a lot of people that are itching to spend time with you. So please find time to get to the Knowledge Center.
Yeah, it's an absolutely great place to be networking and meeting up with your sales teams from Itron and other utility employees you don't usually meet.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
Perfect. All right, and let's be social. So we're connecting here in person, which of course is really important, but let's connect online as well. Your hashtag is IUW17. We're also doing another selfie contest this year, so upload your pictures, download your app, be sure to tweet. And we've got some experts in the digital lounge. If you maybe want to get a little bit of help, they'd be happy to help set you up. So let's connect online as well.
And also, too, if anyone is interested in becoming a volunteer for a board member, if you're interested from all over the world, people join us from anywhere. Please find all of our board members are going to be in these color shirts today, and then tomorrow we'll all be wearing a gray striped shirt. So if you have any questions or any interest in becoming a member of the board, please seek one of us out, or even an Itron employee, and we'll get you guys all the information or answer you guys' questions you guys can, or any other additional questions or directions we can help you guys with. We're definitely here to help you guys out.
Perfect. All right, everybody, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.